Pleased to be joined now by Silverbacks assistant coach Carter Cochrane following what I called a statement win, a 6-2 final over the Vernon Vipers. I'll leave it to you to get us started here. Was this your strongest game of the pod season so far?
Yeah, I think it was. Obviously, very happy with the result, but I think we kind of flashed the potential of our group tonight, and it's kind of been something that we've been building towards. And it hasn't been a straight line to get here, and we're by no means finished, but it's a really good step in the right direction. And it just shows the kind of maturity and that next step we're taking as a group. As the 3-1 win on Wednesday was a huge one for us, and one, I think it's no secret here how the rivalry has been in the 20 years of the Silverbacks' existence and the Vipers, and they've bullied us. And I think I go back to when I played, and even the way that they've been able to beat us has been a physical style, an imposing style, and there's been times where we've been ran out of the rink by those guys. And I think start of the pod and the record speaks for itself. They kind of dominated us through those first 7 games results wise, and I can definitely speak to my own personal frustration. I'm sure I even let it air out on here once in a while, but I think our group kind of took it upon themselves, especially after last weekend, just kind of say enough's enough. And we're not going to be able to dictate the results all the time, but we can dictate how we play. And for 120 minutes now, it's very clear that we're the most physical team, and we're imposing our way and our will on those guys. And I just think that it was a huge step for our group to be able to do that. But, like we saw last weekend, the result, as good as it is meaningless if we aren't able to carry it into tomorrow.
Yeah, and we'll talk about heading into tomorrow at the tail end of this interview. Let's dive into this game, because you mentioned the last 2 efforts, obviously. Big wins, same opponent, must wins, but different games. One's 3-1, low scoring. You kind of got that one out. This one seemed to be over halfway through the game. So what was it tonight that was different from Wednesday?
I think offensively early we just had a lot of jump. I think the power plays to start, even though we didn't capitalize on them, we were able to kind of generate some momentum and put some pucks on net and test Porter out early. And I really loved how we responded after they scored that power play goal. It was a bit of an unfortunate play there where we just got a little bit too aggressive. Something that we've been trying to do on our penalty kill lately is be more aggressive, and that's going to burn you at times. And, Stacey did a phenomenal job of tracking that puck and getting across. And I think everybody on our bench thought he made the save until the ref pointed it in. I'm still not really sure how it got through him there, but, just the way that we responded after that. And I think we had 12 chances in that first period. Probably the most chances I've seen us have in my time here with the team as a coach in one period. And we were just able to build off each other's momentum. And I think the spirit of our group was extremely high tonight. It was one of those games where nobody seemed to care who was getting the job done, just that the job was getting done. And when guys would go out there and have a big shift, lay a hit, good forecheck, didn't matter who did it, because the next guys were building off of it and feeding off of it into the next shift. And it was just kind of one of those games where, I don't know if it's a cliche to say total team effort or, the whole group played well, but it was one of those games where it just felt like what one guy did had such an impact on everybody else. And, it's a credit to our group kind of coming together. And, we have a really tight-knit group, but I think we've kind of hit a new level of kind of determination as a group this last week. Just kind of go through adversity, it really tests you, and you can kind of go one way or the other. And so far we've gone positive, and we hope to continue that. But it was just a really fun game to be a part of, when everybody has that type of life and energy and support for one another. And I don't want my positivity about tonight to be mistaken for negativity towards how our group has been in the past, but it's just when you hit that next level or you take that next step, that's kind of one you didn't know you could get to. It's a very it's a special feeling, and it's one that if we are able to be consistent with and we can continue doing, then the sky's really the limit here.
I just want to quickly touch on one more thing. I know you've talked about It kind of a follow-up on the physicality, because people see the offense and they see the 6-2 score and, oh, all the goals and, different goal scorers, power play, shorthanded. But you talked about off the top about imposing your will and dominating physically, and then how that kind of brought life to the bench. So can you explain maybe how that really helps? And like the physicality kind of started this, didn't it? Like with the energy on the bench, and without that, the goals don't really happen.
Well, I think if you look at last game and how physical we were against them, it's hard to think that there's any other reason why we draw a penalty right off the opening faceoff, other than them trying to kind of push back right away and say, hey, you guys pushed us around last game, we're not going to let that happen. And we were able to draw a penalty off of it. But our physicality tonight just kind of, it led to everything. Just it was the key to our forecheck. It was the key to us getting onto pucks. It made their D just have less time and space, and there was a lot more bobbled pucks by them, or pucks just kind of thrown into areas, just hoping for things to happen, just because we were closing in on them so hard, which allowed our second efforts on pucks to be a lot quicker. And we created so much time and space for ourselves just by playing that style. And we have some guys who we're not asking a lot of by asking them to play physically. Like, I think you look at Kieran Rashinsky and how strong and big he is, and he was so physical tonight. That's not that's the hallmark of his game. And Danny Ciccarello is another guy who was really solid. But then you look at, I know you want to talk about it, but Sully Mack and his hit on that sixth goal, but he was throwing the body all night. And there was times where Julian Racine and Tucker Hartman and some of our smaller players were just going that extra step just to put a little bit of contact on guys. And when you have a whole team committed to doing that, it really wears a team down. And the fact that we were able to do it for 2 games in back-to-back situations, obviously they played West Kelowna in between, but for us to be able to do it 2 games in a row against Vernon, the same opponent, it's going to wear on them for sure. And now we're hoping to be able to do the same against West Kelowna.
Okay, so there were some pretty nice goals tonight, and I want to try something. I want to try to break it down. So we're going to get the coaches, breaking down some of the goals. We can't go through all of them, but let's start with Benny's goal. Shorthanded, dangles. He's done it before in this building. Can you take us through how that goal started and kind of from a coaching perspective, break things down?
Well, it just starts from us executing our penalty kill really well and being able to kind of put that top pressure down onto them as best we can, and we create a turnover. And we haven't produced a shorthanded goal yet, and that's not really something that we strive to do, or we're never talking about creating offense on the penalty kill. But when you get an opportunity, and Jocko does a great job of springing Benny there, and he gets an opportunity to go one-on-one with a guy, and it just makes a good move, and I don't really know what else to say about it. Does a good job of kind of showing like he's going outside, and is able to pull that puck back in, and then great patience in front of the net. And that's where Benny is so good. He's got all kinds of poise and skill around the net, and he's able to use his skill to get himself to the net at times. And just a great job of recognizing an opportunity. And it looks like a highlight reel goal, but Benny's still kind of trying to keep it a little bit simple. The move he made was one that if he gets stood up on, the puck's still going to get in deep, and it's not as high risk as you might think. And it was obviously a huge goal for us, and I think that one is the one that really sparked us and got us going for the rest of the game there.
So the power play goal, I just remember it was a pretty passing play, but maybe you can help me out here and recall exactly how it happened. Obviously, Recchi finished it, but where did that play start?
Well, it started off our entry on the breakout. We made a few tweaks to it tonight. You play a team 8 times. They start to catch on to what you're trying to do, so we made a little bit of an adjustment. The guys, a lot of credit to them. It's an adjustment we made right before the game, and just kind of pulled them in and talked to them on the whiteboard with it, which is, sounds pretty straightforward, but became a lot more complicated when you're trying to work the timing of things into it. But they were able to just pick it up right on the fly, and we were able to gain entry into the zone, and I'm pretty sure all 5 guys touched the puck. And again, it wasn't the end result was pretty and it looked nice, but it was just about taking what they gave us and making plays. I know it goes from Tass up, or from Dak to Tass, and then it goes up to the top to Sands, who finds Sully at the cross seam, and then who finds Rex back in the slot there. So, it's when everybody gets a touch on it, it looks nice, but it just came to us making reads and making smart plays, and maybe not listening to their coaches when they're telling them to shoot the puck. So they can they deserve one of those once in a while.
And then Suli's goal, I mean, you kind of already talked about it, but like that's got to be the epitome of an individual effort, like an unassisted goal, unlike an unassisted goal you've ever seen, right? Like that's just skill and physicality all in one.
Yeah, it's if you had to show one clip to describe Suli and the potential he has and why we think so highly of him and why a lot of people do, given his scholarship and the direction that he's heading in the future. And he's just a guy who's blessed with so many physical abilities, and I think he showed all of them there with his ability to set an angle and finish a hard check on a very big player and a strong player in that too, and then to be able to retrieve the puck and have the kind of presence to protect it, use his edge work and his skating to just kind of create and buy some time for himself. You could tell that they were a little discombobulated defensively with one of their guys being down kind of behind the play, and he was able just to kind of work the puck into a dangerous area, and he was on his backhand the whole time, which kind of bought him a little bit of space because I think he didn't seem that threatening as he was kind of moving through the zone on his backhand. They're a little bit more focused on taking away passing lanes from him and kind of cheated away from Suli, which I wouldn't recommend many people doing, but he was able to get the puck back to his forehand quickly and he's got such a good shot. So that's kind of the last attribute that he was able to showcase there. And, it was a great goal, and even the pass he made to Rex was great. And, it was Suli's best game of the pod by far. And he was challenged before that he knew that whole line was challenged just in the fact that you're not going to surprise anybody when I think they're the highest scoring line in the league right now. And when you have the type of success they have, it's not going to get easier. It's only going to get harder. And Vernon plays a very difficult style, and they've got some physical D and some veteran guys back there that like to play hard. And you just kind of let those guys know, like, hey, it's going to be hard tonight, and it's either going to be just hard on you or you can make it equally as hard on them. And that shift doesn't nearly begin to describe the full 60 minutes that line was able to do and produce for us in terms not only just offensively, but all over the ice with their energy. And when your top line is setting the tone like that, everybody just tends to fall in line behind them. They led us big time tonight, and everyone, there was no one who really stood out more than the other. It was, again, a total team effort.
Lastly, I just want to get Braden Fisher gets his first in the league, and a big one to make it 3-1 at the time. Of course, there was a lot of goals in this one, but you got to feel good. Fish is just such a great kid. You got to feel great for him to get that goal. So just talk about what that means for him.
Yeah, it's one thing to hear it from me, but you can watch the clip back, and sure the audio probably picked up what our bench sounded like and just his teammates, how they mauled him there. Like, no one deserves it more than Fishy. Like you said, he's a great kid. He works so hard, and tonight he just was able to kind of put it all together and was able to chip in offensively and get that first one, which is huge. But again, you talk about he's not the most physically imposing player, but if you watched any time a Vernon player had the puck and he was around, he was finishing checks, he was in the good positions. When he scores a goal, just getting to the hardest part of the area of the ice and burying a rebound. And it's kind of, we've talked about it lots, just kind of taking notes from other guys and guys who have maybe struggled and then found success. And the leaders on our team have been great examples of that. Simon Tassi and Drew Bennett, guys who started the pod a little bit slow and now have really come on strong for us. And I think Fish is kind of watching what those guys do and kind of taking notes as, okay, hey, if I'm doing the right things, I'm going to get rewarded. If I'm good positionally, if I move my feet, if I'm physical. Yeah, he's just kind of buying into doing all those little things, and it was great to see him get rewarded. I know the feeling of getting that first one after a long time, and Fish has the potential to do that on a lot of nights, and he's had his chances for sure. And I think now that the monkey's off the back, he could really be hitting stride now.
Lastly, of course, quick turnaround, West Kelowna. What's the key tomorrow? You have a game in hand. You got to take advantage. What do you guys need to do to get the 2 points?
More of the same.
I like it. Short and sweet. Thanks so much. We'll chat tomorrow.
Yeah, see you later.